So, our first speaker today is Tiffany Ingle, and she's a creative brand strategist, but I also love that she's a storyteller because I believe stories move people. And she works with accomplished leaders who are tired. And I loved how she said this because how many of you can relate to this? You're going to put this in the chat. These women are tired of being the best kept secret in their industries. Like they're experts, but nobody knows that yet, right? So she's built her practice around one single conviction, and that's authenticity is addictive. So you can see why she's totally aligned with our Hey Girl You Can brand. When you believe and what you believe, when you believe what you believe and what you say out loud in your work all aligns, then everything shifts for you. So I'm going to pass it over to Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Tara. Okay. All right, can everyone see my slides?
Yes, you are.
Okay, fantastic. So hello, everyone. I'm Tiffany Ingle. I'm a creative brand strategist, and one of my primary passions is helping women leaders brand themselves like they have nothing to lose. I'm really glad to be here with all of you today. So let's get into it. I want to discuss an aspect of wellness that goes beyond the biological needs of sleep, hydration, movement, and time boundaries. Those things are essential, but they're only a part of the picture. As women, as business owners, we are used to wearing many hats and navigating various situations, often all in the same day. We speak differently to our clients than we do to our children or our partner. We hold ourselves differently in a boardroom than we do over dinner. We're lionesses during a pitch and humble supplicants during prayer time. Or maybe it's the other way around. This ability to adapt is intelligent and necessary. What I want to address today is what happens when adapting becomes a form of self suppression. When the version of ourselves we present professionally isn't just different from what we believe privately, but opposed to it, it leads to depletion. We must learn to identify and address this because it impacts our health as readily as chronic sleep deprivation, and it can lead to burnout. Over the next few minutes, my goal is to help you recognize whether or not you're experiencing this and to give you a starting point for changing course today. That disconnect we feel between who we are at our core and our professional identity is known as misalignment burnout. Researchers define it as a form of stress resulting from disharmony between, between our occupation and our convictions. Now, I think it's safe to say that nearly all of us have had jobs or worked on projects that were more about keeping the lights on than personal fulfillment. And I'm not saying that having to do something temporarily uncomfortable is the end of the world. We all have peaks and valleys along the course of our careers. However, when you're experiencing misalignment long term, it becomes detrimental to your health. Here are the three major signs to look for in order to diagnose misalignment burnout. Sign number one, you are constantly exhausted, no matter how much sleep you get. If you're doing all the right things, getting adequate sleep, staying hydrated, moving your body, protecting your time, and the exhaustion persists, that's worth paying attention to. You could be dealing with depersonalization, which is a sense of disconnection from yourself. Sign number two, a growing sense that your work, despite being objectively good, has stopped feeling meaningful. According to occupational psychologist Christina Maslach, whose research forms the foundation of burnout studies, this manifests as losing your sense of efficacy and accomplishment as you devote your time and talents to things that no longer feel personally significant. So rather than being fueled by a sense of purpose, you're simply going through the motions. Sign number three is what researchers call effort reward imbalance. the sustained experience of giving significantly more than you are receiving in return. Have you noticed a growing sense of resentment when peers are receiving recognition that you believe should be coming to you? This might feel like a clear cut case of jealousy, but the difference is this: jealousy is about wanting what someone else has. What I'm describing is the frustration of being excellent and still unable to receive the recognition you've earned because you're out of alignment with your purpose. So I would be remiss if I failed to mention once more that these signs could point to a biological issue, such as nutrient deficiency, poor sleep quality, or lack of regular movement. But the difference is this: misalignment burnout persists even when those biological needs are adequately addressed. So if you've checked those boxes and the symptoms remain, that is your signal that another issue is at play. As promised, you can begin addressing misalignment burnout right now, and it begins with a writing exercise. You can take as long as you need to complete it, but I think it's best to move fast so that you're not overly editing yourself. The exercise begins with your current professional bio. You can use the version on your LinkedIn, your website, or your Speaker One sheet. So if you'd like to follow along right now, you can go ahead and pull that up so you can work with it. Now, I want you to imagine explaining what you do to someone who makes you feel safe in a situation where you've let your hair down. Maybe that's a girls' night out with your best friend, a coffee meeting with a favorite mentor, or satisfying the curiosity of an inquisitive child from your neighborhood. Write down what you'd say to someone who fully accepts you, who you don't feel the need to impress. And I'd actually like to take about 3 minutes to do this. I'm going to set a timer if it'll let me. Yeah, I'll set the timer on my phone and I'll unmute myself when the time's up. All right, time is up. So, what I'd like you to do now is to set both versions of your bio in front of you. What do you notice that's different between them? If I had to guess, it would be that the unofficial version that you just wrote is more honest and maybe a little more exciting. So, my challenge to you now is to find a phrase or a sentence from the unofficial bio that rings true, truer than what's in your professional bio right now, and make the swap, even if it feels a little risky. So, as an example, my professional bio now says, powered by big introvert energy and a wild imagination, because that is a true description of who I am. I was pretty nervous about saying that in public, but what I found is that it sets expectations before I walk into a room in a positive way. And I believe one true sentence can do that for you too. If today's conversation resonated with you, I want to leave you with something to continue this work on your own time. I have a free resource called Why You're Still the Best Kept Secret in Your Industry. It picks up exactly where we left off today and walks you through more exercises for overcoming misalignment burnout. And if you'd like to connect with me, please feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited that you are here, Tiffany. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off. I'm going to add her back in. If you are watching the replay, or you can go ahead, it will be in the show notes. If you were here live, then Tiffany, I'm going to have you put that in the chat so everybody can grab your offer. If you have questions, for the sake of time, we're not opening up questions, but go ahead and put those in the chat. Tiffany's going to be able to stay here. She's going to be able to answer your questions. I know some of you were hopping in a little bit late, so you will get access to this replay. I'm going to go ahead, stop our recording, and introduce our next speaker.